professionals. I do get asked the same questions over and over again. And honestly, I love it. I'm Nathan. I've been in the profession for nearly 14 years, and whether you're considering mortuary science as a career, maybe you're a new director that's just starting out, or you're just genuinely curious and weird about what we do behind the scenes, behind that door, today I'm answering your biggest questions about this profession, the profession that I'm so very passionate about. So hold on tight, sisters and brothers. These questions, they come straight from my Director OS community members, social media comments, DMs, conversations that I've had at professional events, Reddit, you name it. So let's dive in. Let's start with the most common one. Nathan, how do you actually break into funeral service? Do you need a degree? It's a great question. The answer is yes, you typically need formal education, either an associate's degree in mortuary science or a bachelor's degree followed by a mortuary school. But here's what they don't tell you in school. The real learning, that happens on the job, which is exactly why I created Director OS, because I realized there was this massive gap between what you learn in the textbooks and classroom and what you need to know to truly serve families excellent. The course, Director OS, it covers everything from that crucial first phone call. And trust me when I tell you, 87% of your first impressions, they happen over the telephone, all the way through creating meaningful celebrations of life, sitting with the families in the thick of it. Here's my controversial advice, and I've made a whole TikTok about this, numerous really. Don't call asking if they're hiring the funeral home. Don't send random resumes. Instead, dress professionally as if you're working a funeral. Walk into the funeral home that you genuinely respect, that you feel connected to. Maybe they served your Aunt Deborah. Maybe they just look nice. Ask for a tour. And at the end of that tour, look them in the eye and say, I want to work here. And why does this work? Because funeral directors are focused on the families inside their four walls, not necessarily you calling about a job. If you want their attention, that's where you got to be. This approach, it shows initiative, it shows respect and genuine interest. And those are all qualities that the funeral profession, we as leaders desperately need right now. Next question, what do you actually do all day? Is it just dealing with dead bodies? If it were only that simple. Funeral directors are part psychologist, part event planner, part business manager, part grief counselor. On any given day, I may meet with a family who just lost their mother and help them plan a celebration that truly honors her 87 years of life, coordinate with florists, musicians, clergy, and cemetery staff. I may handle insurance paperwork, death certificates, make that crucial first call to transfer someone into our care, train staff on proper etiquette, service standards. The dealing with bodies part, what we call preparation or embalming, that's actually just one very small, important, yes, but one small aspect. And many funeral homes have specialized embalmers just for that. And what most people don't even realize is how much psychology and emotional intelligence this job requires. There's a lot of people in the profession that don't have any. In Director OS, though, I have an entire module on the psychology of grief and emotional intelligence, because understanding how people process loss is very fundamental to serving them. Look, here's the thing. We're often the first professionals of family encounters in their worst, most delicate, most painful moment. How we show up, how we communicate, even our body language can either add to or take away from the stressful moments. And this brings me to probably one of the most important questions. How do you handle the emotional weight? Does it get depressing? And I won't lie, this work is very emotionally challenging. You're constantly surrounded by grief, by heaviness, by people in their worst, most vulnerable, angry sometimes moments. And compassion fatigue is real, and burnout, it happens. But here's what I've learned after sitting with thousands of families. This job is not about death. It is about life. It's about celebrating the impact someone has made, helping families to heal, and creating moments of beauty in the midst of all of that sorrow. I mean, with that said, you have to be intentional about self-care, because I even talk about that in Director OS. I dedicate an entire section to building emotional resilience, managing the physical, the mental toll of funeral service work. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't truly take care of the families. I also teach what I call the delicate handoff, how to delegate and trust your team members so you're not carrying every family's grief personally. You can serve with your whole heart while still maintaining the healthy boundaries. That's something we all could work on, no matter if you're in the profession or not. And one thing that helps me is remembering that every family I serve gets to honor their loved one because of the work that we do. We're not just dealing with death. We're preserving dignity, creating lasting memories. We're helping communities heal together. Here's a question I get a lot from the new directors. What about the business side? How do you handle pricing conversations, financial discussions? Financial discussions scares everybody. This is where so many funeral directors struggle. Honestly, where a lot of funeral homes lose families' trust even, because too many people in our profession are either overly apologetic about pricing or they avoid the conversation altogether until the very end, and then it's wham, $10,000. And you're like, what? In Director OS, I teach what I call financial transparency with compassion. You address budget considerations early, not because you're money focused, but because financial stress is the last thing that a grieving family needs. Here's the key. You're not selling funeral services. You're guiding families toward choices that honor their loved one while respecting their financial situation. There's a huge difference there. And I teach directors to say things like, we want to ensure every decision we make today feels right for your family, both emotionally and financially. Do you have any specific considerations you'd like us to keep in mind as we create this tribute for your loved one? Insert name. If you notice, I use their name. Insert name is their name. That's intentional. Margaret is someone who brought joy to everyone around her rather than Margaret was. These small language changes honor the person's continuing impact. Question 5 already. How is technology changing the funeral profession? Massively. We're seeing live stream services for remote family members, digital memorial pages, online arrangement conferences, AI tools for everything from scheduling to inventory management. Here's my take. Technology should enhance the human connection and not replace it. It's never been my intention, as I've been progressive about technology from the beginning. In Director OS, I have a whole module on leveraging technology in funeral services, but always with the goal of better serving families, not just being efficient, not just having the shiny toy. I mean, for example, I developed a funeral music planning tool that allows families to submit their song choices before the service. It saves time, yes, but more importantly, it ensures families feel heard and involved in creating something meaningful. And it is a place where the profession has lacked dramatically selecting music. The whole key is just staying ahead of changes while never losing sight of our core purpose as funeral directors: serving families, serving them with compassion and dignity and intentionality. And I know that technology can help us to be more organized, more responsive, more efficient, but I know it can't replace the genuine human empathy. Last question. This might be my favorite one. Last question, and this may be my favorite. What's the most rewarding part of being a funeral director? Now, I might add, I almost put in, what's the grossest thing you've ever seen? That's asked all the time. But it's the moment when a family realizes you truly get it. When the family see that you're not just going through motions, but you genuinely care about honoring their loved one's unique story. I mean, I remember this family, they came in for arrangements. Their loved one was this huge baseball fan. And instead of just putting up some generic sports decorations, we transformed the chapel. We had his favorite player's jersey displayed, played the national anthem that he always sang along to at the games, and even had people who came share their favorite baseball memories of him during the service. And not to mention, we gave his wife and their children tickets to his favorite game. People came up afterwards with tears in their eyes. They said, "You brought him back to life for this moment." And that's exactly what he would have wanted. That's why I do this work. It's also why I built Director OS the way that I did. It's not just about policies and procedures. I know those are important. It's about understanding that every family, they deserve a director who sees their loved one as this unique individual that's worthy of a celebration that reflects their personality, their impact, their story, and not template, cookie cutter. Look, whether you're just curious about this profession, or maybe you're a director that's looking to elevate your skills, I hope this answered some of the questions. This work, it's not for everybody. And there are some times throughout my career, probably yours too if you're licensed, where you've quit in your head maybe 6 times in one day. It requires emotional strength, genuine compassion, and this never-ending commitment to serving others at their most vulnerable moments and just taking it on the chin at times. But I know that those who are called to it, it's incredibly meaningful work. If you're a funeral director or considering this career path, I'd love for you to check out Director OS. It is the comprehensive training I wish that I had when I started. It covers everything from your first day on the job to mastering complex family dynamics to building a sustainable, fulfilling career in funeral service. The link is in the description. And remember, this took me over 2 years to build because I wanted to create something that would genuinely transform how directors serve families. And keep those questions coming. Ask them in the comments below. I love hearing from you, whether you're part of the Director OS community or you're just someone who's curious about this incredibly unique and powerful profession that we call funeral service. Be sure to subscribe, click the bell to be notified when I release content like this. And also, I have music. Yes, my new single, Feel Anything, is in the description below. Also, I'm going to link my second channel, my music channel right there. And I appreciate you. Until next time, keep showing up for the people when it matters most.